I would like to say at this point, I have done your show on one occasion in the past, and I wanted very much to get back on the show, and couldn't. And I must say, I'm a bit put out, Russell, when I think that things have come to a pretty pass when I have to nearly walk through the pearly gates before I can get back on your show.
You certainly know how to hurt a guy.
I know I do, I'm sorry.
You know
nothing I say is really meant to hurt you.
Is it not?
Because I love you, really.
Do you love me? How much do you love me?
I love you very much. I think you're great, and I enjoy watching your show.
Yeah, isn't that lovely? Well, that's the end of tonight's programme, ladies and gentlemen. You walked in a rather stately fashion down the staircase.
Didn't I? Yes.
Do you have to take things easy?
Well, I do have to take things very easy, but I must be absolutely honest, because I always like to be honest. The reason I walked in a very stately fashion was not just because I have to take things terribly easy, but because I loathe walking down steps. I fell and broke my leg last year on a step. And I've always had a thing about walking downstairs, and so consequently I can never make a graceful, smooth entrance anywhere where there are steps. Actually, going back to breaking my leg last year, Alan Lake, my husband, myself, seem to have this uncanny knack. I don't know whether we're jinxed or what we are, but every year something ghastly happens to either one of us. I mean, he broke his back the year before, and we've had all kinds of things, fires, burglaries, you name it, we've had it. Yeah, I'm sure you've read about it and things in the papers. And we got to November of this year, and I just had said to Alan, "Isn't it marvellous, darling?" I said, "Here it is, November. We've actually come through this year without anything happening." This was on bonfire night. He promptly cracked a bone in his foot at the bonfire party. And then, of course, 3 weeks ago tonight, I was taken ill. So we didn't come through this year unscathed.
Except you've come through it finally unscathed, and hopefully.
Finally.
Did it strike you all of a sudden, or what happened to you?
Yes, it was completely out of the blue. This is the terrifying part about it, because I was my perfectly normal, healthy self.
Your robust self.
Thank you. I wasn't going to say that because it makes me sound enormous. Robust. I just said healthy. And suddenly, on the Thursday evening, I felt very strange and not at all well, and I thought I'd got the flu. And went to bed, and the following morning I woke up. I had been aching in every limb, all the flu symptoms, but without a temperature. And I called the doctor, or rather my husband did, because suddenly all the pain left my body and it went into my head, and I had the worst headache I've ever had in my life. It was as though somebody had hit me on top of the head with an axe. My doctor came round, and thank God, what a wonderful doctor, because were it not for him, I wouldn't be sitting here talking to you today, because a lesser doctor would have probably said, "Oh, you've got a bug or the flu," and given me a shot and left it at that. But he said no. He said, "I think we'd better get you into hospital for tests. You could have meningitis. I'm not saying you have, but you could have." And he rushed me to hospital, literally only in the nick of time, because the meningitis that I had is the kind that not only can kill you, but if you don't catch it in time, it will kill you before it is killed. So thanks to that doctor, who unfortunately is ill himself now.
Oh, my goodness.
And again, I was lucky, because had he been ill as he is now,
he wouldn't have
come to see me. So
why did you make
thanking God all round.
Right. Why did you make such a spectacular recovery? Because you are, I mean, seriously, you don't look as though you've been ill.
I know, isn't it awful? I want to try and look sort of frail and rather like Camille, but it's no good. I've never been able to look like that. I've never been able to look like a lady either, Russell.
Oh, come on.
That's true.
But sometimes you behave like one, haven't you?
Only in private.
You don't want to drape yourselves over the back of the hair?
No, I don't think so. I'll try and resist that temptation.
Why did you... We saw at the beginning this headline from the News of the World.
Yes.
In which you say, "I am glad."
I always sell everything to the News of the World.
Did it right?
Pays much better, yeah.
Yeah. But why were you glad that you nearly died?
Well, I think the headline was probably a little over-exaggerated. What I did say, in fact, was that in one sense, you see, I'm a firm believer that apart from believing in fate and destiny, which I do even more now, I think when your time comes, it's there, and there's nothing you can do about it. As a matter of fact, Danny LaRue called me up when I was in hospital, and I said, It's no good, Danny. I said, there was no danger of me dying because there's no way I'm going up there before you. I said, we've got to go in together because I'm going to make a late entrance. but
elbowing each other.
What I do firmly believe is that out of everything bad that happens to you, they say out of evil comes good, and I think certain things have come to me, maybe philosophically, if you like to put it that way. For instance, I said in that News of the World article that one thing that draws you much closer together with those that you love is when some terrible shock or tragedy like this occurs, because it makes you realise how much you love each other, how much you take each other for granted.
Which you were doing.
Which we were doing, like any other married couple.
Listen, I'm sure your recovery will mean that you'll be applying back into work again. I have never known anybody, reading through a list of your work activities, anybody who's worked at more things and done more things, more different things. I mean, the list of things like cabaret theatre...
Done everything except circus. There's plenty of time for that.
As what do you think? What do you think you'd be in a circus?
I don't know, following the elephants or something.
What with a pan?
Why not? Done everything else, Russell. No, I have. I've done everything there is to do in this business. I was at Chichester all summer.
You were indeed.
My first venture into...
You were indeed. We have a
classic.
photograph. We have a photograph, I think,
Have
somewhere
you?
of you at Chichester wearing an extraordinary garb and
No,
clutching...
it didn't look a bit like me.
And clutching
At
Keith
least I don't
Michel's
think it did.
leg.
Oh, and what better thing could you clutch, may I ask? Well, I don't know. Maybe you've got something hidden that we...
There we are. There's you.
Oh,
There's you.
don't I look strange?
What did he do to your hair?
Well, that was a wig, I hasten to
Yes,
say.
I presumed it was.
Yes,
of course, yeah.
it's a magenta wig. You know.
Right.
Actually, tonight is me, but this is another thing that my illness has bequeathed me. A lot of my hair fell out, and it's all gone very limp and strange, but it is me. I've probably gone completely white naturally now, so I probably won't need to have it bleached anymore. As it's bleached now, we shall never know how grey I am. But I'm old enough to be grey, let's face it.
A lot of people say that one of the best things you ever did in film, in celluloid, was a film called Yield to the Night. Do you remember that
Yes,
film?
I do.
Well,
My favourite.
We have a bit of it to
Have
look
you?
at, if we may. It's a bit where your appeal for clemency has been turned down by the Home Office and you're to be hanged the next morning, and here you are with a prison officer before trying to get some sleep. That's a bit near the bone.
I was going to say, if I hadn't been in a coma 3 weeks now, that's probably what I would have been saying. I'm not ready to die in the morning. Actually, they told Alan I was going to.
Did they?
The doctor went in and said to him, I always think it's so much worse for the person that's standing there. You know, at least I was in a coma. I didn't know what was happening. But the doctor went in and just said to Alan, I'm afraid, he said, I believe in being honest. We just don't hold out any hope. And, you know, it's a terrible shock for somebody, you know, to be told that, you know. And had I died, it's also terribly gloomy. Must get
Well, go
off this
on, just finish
but
that
Had I
bit.
died, it would have been on our 6th wedding anniversary. Trust me to go out in style. But anyway, I didn't.
Talking of
Can't get rid of me that easy, Russ.
Right. You and Diana Dors. Talking of films like that we've just seen, why didn't you ever make more films of that kind of class?
Oh, I'm often asked that. The reason is quite simple. I was never asked to make another film like that. I would have adored to make another film, in fact, many times, like Yield to the Night, but nobody ever came up to me with a script of that calibre, which is sad because I love making that. It always makes me cry, that film, when I see it, you know.
There'd be less money, though, wouldn't there, in a quality film than in... I mean, you've made a lot of money in your life. I don't know whether you're a rich lady now, but...
Well, no, I'm not. I wish I were.
But you do...
She said, with her hands groaning in diamond.
With her light hands, yeah. But perhaps you made more, or could make more money, being a, quote, sex symbol, unquote.
You mean I'd make more money being a sex symbol? Yes, obviously, because a sex symbol is... Oh, dear, there she is as a sex symbol. Was that a sex symbol in those days?
Well, I think two of them
Very
were.
sexy
yeah.
by today's standards. No, there is more money in being a sex symbol and being sort of glamorous and doing the thing that people want to see and being light and bright. And let's face it, it's such a gloomy world today. It's sad, but it is. And you know, to sort of go into high drama, as we did at Chichester and everything, it's all very well for a certain part of the public who enjoy that. But I think basically, by and large, people want to go out, they want to be entertained if they go to the cinema or they watch television. They want to laugh in these dark days. They want to see something that's glamorous and I don't know, that's my opinion. I may be totally wrong, but...
When you did the thing at Chichester with Keith Michelle...
That's for no money, by the way.
For no money. Did you have to be... no way.
No money.
Did you have to be wooed into that, or did you accept it like that?
No, well, first of all, I accepted it like that because I was so flattered that I'd been asked to appear in the portals of Chichester and in such a magnificent play as Oedipus and so on. And I couldn't believe it. I thought they must have got the wrong person. You know, they want somebody else. But anyway, I accepted, and then afterwards I started...
They've got the wrong Diana Dors.
They've got the wrong Diana Dors. They've got the real Diana Dors, little do they know. But afterwards I started thinking about the actual sort of practical side of it. I mean, there really is no money, make no joke about it. I mean, if you do that sort of thing, you do it for art's sake. And my motto has always been art for art's sake and money for God's sake. And, I think that's the case with most actors, actually. And I'm sure I can hear one behind saying, "Here, here now." And the thing was, I went to see Keith Michelle, and I said, "Keith, I'd love to, and please don't, be offended, but really, I don't think I can afford to spend 4 months of my life coming down here to Chichester." And he persuaded me, and he talked me into... I'm very glad he did, actually, because I enjoyed it. It was lovely. I mean, it's another string to add to my bow. I mean, it was a marvellous experience. I'm not saying I'll ever repeat it, and I don't intend to sort of go into the sort of that side of our business, I'm afraid.
Yeah.
I'm happier where I am. Actually, I want to do what you do. You see, you know this. I'm after a chat show of my own.
I know, we know.
Because I can never stop talking.
This frightens me to death.
I'm your biggest rival.
Biggest rival. Best friend, biggest rival. Now, we have another bit of film, a film which is not released yet. Oh. And it's called, I keep wanting to call it the Milkman Cometh, but it's not that, is it?
You're getting back into art
it's
now.
It's the Amorous Milkman.
The Amorous Milkman.
And this is a scene which I seem to have seen somewhere before, in which you're pulling yourself together after
I've done that a few times.
After a hard night, when lo and behold, the milkman calls. You obviously clearly don't mind flaunting your bazooms in films like that, do you?
Flaunting them for so long. I mean, they're a bit boring now, aren't they? Everyone's seen them so many times. Actually, I haven't seen that before. That's a little bit of an eye-opener to me.
It's a surprise for you there.
Far cry from Oedipus, isn't it?
Well, it's a far cry. Or a light leap. And talking of light leaps...
Yes? You're not going to ask me to do one, are you?
No, I'm not. I'm not. But I am surprised that quite recently you became a convert to Roman Catholicism. That was before your illness, so you weren't actually...
Yes, it was. So I haven't suddenly become a religious crank or... I'm glad you brought this subject up because, I'm very loath to talk about this because right away people think, oh, there she goes, she's on another publicity gimmick, as one ghastly magazine actually inferred that both Alan and I had become Catholics purely for publicity, and they said it was a cheap gimmick and so on. And when we became Catholic, we kept very, very quiet because we didn't want publicity. It's a very personal thing. We lived next door to a Catholic college called the Verona Fathers, and we were persuaded to go there one Sunday by a little Catholic girl who worked for us as a nanny, actually. And she said, it's lovely in there. She said, they play guitars, and it's not like being in what one had always thought of as a church, very sombre place, And we went in, and Russell, I can only describe it as being touched very lightly, almost like the touch of a butterfly's wing. It was so beautiful, and I felt so happy and so at peace in there. And this really is what it was all about. And, I'm so happy to think that this has happened to me without me becoming a religious crank. And I don't want people to think, oh, she's gone religious, as I've said about other people, when I've heard them discussing religion. And this has helped me so much in this illness because I now know that God is merciful. He has allowed me. I don't mind dying because if it means I'm going to go and live in heaven, well, then that's beautiful. But I would mind dying at this moment because it would mean leaving Alan and my little boy Jason. And if I can just try and spread that word around a little bit, I think I should have done some good one.
Well, that's a whole new side to the Diana Dors.
Apart from just taking out of life as I've done all my life,
Well, no, you've given plenty, one way and another. You know what I mean?
I've also overexposed myself.
Well, not tonight you haven't. I mean, I think you have quite decently, in a way quite strangely as well, a new side to the Diana Dors. We're all delighted that you're restored to health. Vigorous,
Thank you, Russell. So am
chirpy,
I.
Diana Dors.